Welcome to lesson 3. So in the last lesson, you wrote our first provider, a simple provider holding a DIO instance. But Riverpod has 5 provider types, and choosing the right one is a skill that separates beginners from intermediate. So today we cover all 5, understand what problem each one solves, and build a decision framework you can use instantly. The lesson has no new code to write, it's the mental model lesson. So get this right, and every provider from lesson 4 onward will feel obvious. So let's anchor where we are. We know provider scope, right? Provider and consumer widget. But now we need providers for things that behave very differently. The shopping cart needs to change. Items get added and removed. The product list must be fetched async from the server with loading and error states. Auth needs to transition through loading, success, and error. None of these fit the simple provider we used for DIO. That's exactly what this lesson answers. The right provider type for every kind of problem. So here's a complete provider map, a spectrum from simple to complex. So at the simplest end is provider, holds a read-only value that never changes. We already know this one. Next is notifier provider, mutable state with methods used for auth and cut. Then async notifier provider has the same idea but for async data from a network call used for products and orders. Then we have stream provider for continuous real-time data and state provider for simple primitives like a boolean toggle or a selected tab. So today we cover all 5 and build a decision framework to always pick correctly. Provider is the simplest type. It holds a value created once and never changes. The lock icon is intentional. Widgets can read it, but nothing can modify it from outside. So think of it as a read-only service container, okay? You've already written one, the DIO provider. Other perfect uses are app configuration that doesn't change at runtime, service or repository objects you want to inject into other providers, and values derived from other providers. So if you want to modify the value inside a provider, that's a signal you need a different type. Notifier provider is a workhorse of Riverpod. It combines 2 things, state, the current value, and a notifier class containing methods to change it. So in lesson 8, we build cut notifier with add item method, remove item method, and clear method. So when add item method runs, it updates state. Riverpod detects the change and rebuilds every widget watching the cut. So notice the 2 directions in the diagram. Widgets watch state to display it and call methods via ref.read to change it. Auth and cut are both notifier providers, the providers you will use most in ShopWave. Great, then we have async notifier provider, which is notifier provider's async sibling. The difference is the state is asynchronous, fetched from a network, database, or file. Riverpod wraps the result in an async value with 3 possible states, loading, error, and data. So in your widget, you call .when method and handle each case. You never write if-else chains for async state again. In lesson 6, we build products provider using async notifier provider. The loading state, error handling, and retry logic are handled automatically. It can also have methods. Our order provider will have place order method alongside its async fetch. Now let's see what async value actually replaces. Without it, you manually track 3 separate variables, is loading, error message, and products, and write a chain of if-else to decide what to show. If you miss one case, your UI breaks silently, so you can even reach impossible states, is loading true and products not null simultaneously. So with async value, the Dart compiler forces you to handle all 3 states through .when method. Provider loading handler, an error handler, and a data handler. Forget one, it won't compile. So this is not just cleaner code, it's safer code. We use this pattern every time we fetch from Serverpod. Stream provider wraps a Dart stream. Every time the stream emits a new event, the provider updates and every watching widget rebuilds automatically. So like async notifier provider, it returns an async value. So you use the same .when method pattern. The key difference from a Future, a future gives one value when it's done. A stream emits values continuously. So stream provider manages the subscription automatically. It subscribes when first watched and cancels automatically when no widget is watching anymore. So we won't use this in ShopWave since we're using REST, but it's a right tool for WebSocket and Firebase real-time queries. State provider is the simplest mutable provider. It holds one value, maybe a boolean, an integer, a string, and you update it by setting .state directly. So no notifier class, no method, just ref.read, pass in the notifier, .state, and assign it with a new value. It's perfect for UI state that's simple but needs to be shared across widgets. Which bottom tab is selected, whether a filter is active, the current sort order, such things. So the rule of thumb is if the value is a single primitive with no attached logic, state provider is right. The moment you need conditions or multiple fields, you switch to notifier provider. Now let's map every ShopWave provider to its type. The IO provider uses plain provider, read-only service. Lesson 2 done. Auth provider uses notifier provider. It has login, logout methods that change state, which will be in lesson 5. Products provider uses a sync notifier provider, which fetches from Serverpod asynchronously with a refresh method. That's lesson 6. Then cart provider uses notifier provider, where we have methods like add item, remove item, clear. That's lesson 8. Then we have order provider that uses a sync notifier provider, posts to the server and fetches history asynchronously. That's lesson 10. If it's a sync, use a sync notifier. If it's synchronous logic, use notifier. If it's static, use provider. So here's the decision framework. 4 questions that always lead to the right provider. First question, does the value ever change? If no, use provider. Second question, if it changes, is it just one single primitive with no logic? If yes, use state provider. Question 3, does it have complex logic or multiple fields needing methods? If data is synchronous, use notifier provider. Question 4, if the data is async, is it a one-time future? Use a sync notifier provider. Is it a continuous stream? Use stream provider. So run through this tree every time you create a new provider and you'll rarely make the wrong decision. Great, so every provider type can be combined with the auto dispose modifier. So by default, providers live for the entire app session. Once created, they stay. Auto dispose changes this. When the last widget watching a provider leaves the screen, Riverpod destroys that provider's state and frees the memory. So you write it as a sync notifier provider.autodispose method or notifier provider and call the autodispose. So you use autodispose for screen-specific data like the product detail page, which is a perfect example. So don't use it for app-wide state like auth and cart. Those must survive navigation. We'll apply autodispose to the product detail provider in lesson 7. The family modifier solves a specific problem. So what if you need the same kind of provider but with different parameters? For example, you want to fetch product details, but each product has a different ID, right? Without family, you'd need a separate provider for every product, which is obviously not practical. So with family, you declare the provider once, then pass a parameter when you watch it by using ref.watch, pass in the product detail provider and pass in the value or the ID of that product. That will give you a provider instance of product. For example, if you added in the ID 42, it will return or give you a provider instance for product 42. Ref.watch, when you pass it product detail provider, passing in the ID 7, it gives you a completely separate instance for product 7, independently cached, independently fetched. We'll implement this in lesson 7 for the product detail screen to understand more. Here's one of Riverpod's most powerful features, providers watching other providers. So inside a provider's builder, you have ref, and you can call ref.watch on other providers. So this creates a dependency graph. When the IO provider's value changes, anything watching it updates. When auth provider changes, say the user logs in, a token provider derived from it updates, which causes products provider to update its auth header, triggering a fresh fetch all automatically. So in lesson 9, we build this chain explicitly, seeing how the auth token flows into every authenticated API call without passing it manually. This is dependency injection without a service locator. So here's a complete quick reference. Keep this accessible, okay? So provider, any type, read-only, no async, used for DIO and config. Then we have the notifier, uses any type, has methods to change state, synchronous logic, used like for use cases like auth and cat. In our case, async notifier provider returns async value, has methods, uses futures. In our case, we are going to use it in products and orders. Then we have stream provider, which returns async value, no custom methods, uses a continuous stream, and it's useful in use cases like using Firebase real-time or WebSockets. Then we have state provider, which uses single primitive, no methods, sets.state directly and passing in the new value directly. It's used for simple UI state like filter sections. So these 5 cover everything you'll encounter in production Flutter development. I hope it makes sense. That's everything for lesson 3. So we cover the full map of Riverpod's 5 provider types. Provider for read-only values, notifier provider for mutable state with logic, async notifier provider for async data, stream provider for real-time streams, and state provider for simple toggles. So we learned async value and the when method pattern. We understand auto dispose and family. We built a 4-question decision framework that you can always use. Take a screenshot of it, guys, and mapped every ShopWave feature to its provider type. So this is a foundation lesson. Everything from lesson 4 now onwards is implementation. Every provider we write will click because you now understand the why behind each type. In lesson 4, we do the deep dive on ref, the object that powers everything in Riverpod. We'll cover every method, ref.watch for subscribing in build, ref.read for one-time access in callbacks, ref.listen for side effects like navigation and snack bars, ref.invalidate for forcing a provider to reset, and ref.refresh for restarting a provider and returning the new value. We'll cover where each method is valid, what breaks when you use the wrong one, and look at real examples from the ShopWave codebase. See you in lesson 4.